This story will change the way you see everything you already have, but you'll only understand it when it's almost too late. I grew up in a small house at the foot of a mountain. My parents were old, their hands worn from years of working the land. My father was strong despite his age. My mother carried warmth in her grey hair and kindness in every word. They had 2 children. My sister left for the city to build her own life. I stayed, not because I loved the land, but because everything was easy, too easy. I was spoiled. I took without giving. I worked only when I felt like it. Everything I had, I never earned. One day, sitting in the village tavern, a stranger told me that as the only son, all the land would be mine one day. That lie became my truth. It poisoned everything. That same night I demanded the property documents from my parents. I told them I had the right to everything. They tried to explain that the land was divided between both children, but I didn't want to hear it. I threatened to sell it all. My father spoke with patience, reminding me the land fed our family. My mother, heartbroken, said I didn't understand its value. But I was blind. Greed had taken over. I tried to find buyers. I went to the city registry. I invented stories. I did everything to sell something that wasn't even fully mine. But the law stopped me every time. Without my parents' signatures, nothing could be sold. My frustration grew like wildfire. One day, driven by desperation, I snuck into my parents' room and took the wooden box where they kept the documents. My mother tried to stop me. I was cold. I promised to return them the next day as if it meant nothing. My father, tired and hurt, said one simple thing. When you take what you didn't earn, you only hurt yourself. I thought it was just old man talk. I was wrong. That was the truth, and I refused to see it. The next day, my father went to every office and created a new rule. No piece of our family land could be sold without both their signatures. This time, my plans were blocked forever. Time passed. My mother, worn down by years of worry, grew weak. One silent morning, she died. My father, alone and broken-hearted, followed her months later on a rainy night while trying to fix the water gate on the property. With both parents dead, everything became mine. I finally had what I wanted, and I had no idea how to care for it. Without delay, I started selling everything. The field where I grew up, the yard where I played, finally, the house where my parents taught me to walk. I believed that with money in my hands, I'd build something great. But the only thing that was great was my illusion. The money disappeared fast, as it always does when it falls into the hands of someone who never learned to value anything. Soon, I had nothing. No money, no land, no house, no food, and what hurt most, no one. People in the village began to distance themselves. I slept on borrowed porches, using an old sack as a blanket. I starved. I cried in secret, but no one came to help. Everyone knew I had dug my own grave. With no options left, I stuffed some clothes in a bag and left the village at dawn. I whispered to myself, almost like a confession, now I'll earn through effort what I never cared for when I had it. I went from city to city, carrying heavy sacks, washing floors, building walls. My body weakened, my hands became scarred. Time punished me. One day, while working on a construction site, I stopped to look at my own hands. Rough, cut, aged before their time. In that moment, I remembered my father carving a wooden handle with calm, as if life had its own rhythm. That's when it hit me. I cried. Not from anger, but because I finally saw the weight of my own choices. I never returned to the village. They say I died in a distant city, silent as late regret. No one knows where I was buried. Maybe it doesn't matter, because my story became a warning that echoes through the Mountains, because land you don't plant feeds no one. A roof you don't repair collapses. A relationship you don't care for disappears like dust in the wind. Nothing, absolutely nothing, sustains itself alone. Many people lose everything they have, not from bad luck but from lack of care. From thinking what exists today will always be there tomorrow. From believing they deserve without needing to maintain. And this is the hard truth. What you don't care for, you lose, and sometimes you lose it forever. So work, care, love. Don't wait for life to teach you the most painful way. If you don't plant, you don't harvest. If you don't protect, it collapses. If you don't value it, it disappears. Recognize what's already in your hands before time shows you the emptiness that remains when everything is gone. The blessings you ignore today will be the same ones you'll beg to have back tomorrow. Life always warns before it punishes, but not everyone listens. And when silence arrives, it usually arrives too late. Value what is already yours before it becomes only a memory.